Dear listener, welcome back to Guide to Reads. Imagine a medicine so powerful that it sharpens your memory, lifts your mood, protects you from stress, and even shields you against aging. Now imagine that this medicine doesn't come in a pill, but in movement. Yes, in the simple act of exercise. In Spark, Dr. John Ratey reveals a groundbreaking truth. Exercise is not just about muscles and endurance. It is about rewiring the brain itself. Every time you move, you ignite chemical fireworks in your mind, boosting learning, creativity, and emotional balance. This episode is an invitation to see exercise in a new light. Not as a chore for the body, but as fuel for the brain. A daily spark that keeps your mind young, alive, and full of potential. So let's dive together into this fascinating science of movement and discover how a simple run, a brisk walk, or a playful dance can reshape the very landscape of your mind. Chapter 1. Learning in Motion. My friend, let me ask you this. Do you remember a time when you tried to learn something difficult? Maybe a new language, a complex math problem, or even memorizing a speech, and felt your brain was stuck like an engine refusing to start? Dr. John Ratey tells us in Spark that the key to unlocking that engine is not always more hours at the desk, but movement. Yes, exercise. When you move, your body pumps more oxygen and nutrients to the brain. But more importantly, it releases a magical protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Think of BDNF as fertilizer for your brain. It helps your brain cells grow stronger connections, making it easier to absorb new knowledge and retain it. For example, a high school in Naperville, Illinois, conducted an experiment. Before their toughest classes, like math and science, students were asked to engage in aerobic exercise, running, biking, or fast-paced sports. The result? Their grades soared, and they ranked among the best in international science exams. Imagine that. Exercise became the secret weapon of learning. So, dear listener, next time you struggle to focus or prepare for an exam, don't just reach for another cup of coffee. Step outside, take a brisk walk, or jump on your bike. Your brain will thank you, and you'll return sharper, clearer, and more ready to learn. This is the first spark. Movement awakens the learner within you. Chapter 2. Exercise and Stress. Let me paint a picture for you, dear listener. You wake up late, rush through breakfast, battle traffic, and then face a mountain of emails before you've even taken your first sip of coffee. By noon, your shoulders are tight, your heart is racing, and your mind is scattered. Stress has claimed its territory. But Dr. John Ratey reminds us of a simple truth in Spark. Exercise is nature's built-in stress shield. Here's why. When you exercise, whether jogging, swimming, or even dancing, you trigger the release of endorphins, those natural mood elevators. At the same time, exercise lowers levels of cortisol, the stress hormone that keeps your body in fight-or-flight mode. It's as if movement sweeps the clutter from your nervous system, giving your mind space to breathe. Think about it. After a long, draining day, have you ever gone for a walk or hit the gym, and suddenly the fog lifted? That wasn't your imagination. That was your brain chemistry resetting itself. In fact, neuroscience shows that aerobic exercise literally remodels the brain's response to stress. Instead of being hijacked by panic, your mind learns resilience. You stay calmer under pressure, make clearer decisions, and recover faster when challenges come your way. So, my friend, the next time life feels overwhelming, don't just collapse into the couch. Move, run, stretch, dance. Because every step you take is not only a step away from stress, but a step toward peace. This is the second spark. Movement transforms stress into strength. Chapter 3. Exercise and Anxiety. Dear listener, anxiety is a quiet thief. It steals sleep from our nights, focus from our days, and peace from our hearts. Sometimes it feels like a constant hum in the background of life, an unease that won't let go. But in Spark, Dr. Ratey gives us a hopeful message. Exercise is one of the most effective natural antidotes to anxiety. Here's how it works. When you move your body, running, swimming, even brisk walking, you trigger the release of calming neurotransmitters like GABA and serotonin. These are your brain's natural brakes, slowing down the racing thoughts that feed anxiety. Think of it this way. Anxiety is like a runaway horse inside your mind. Exercise doesn't just stop the horse. It teaches you how to ride it, to bring it under control. One powerful study showed that just 20 minutes of aerobic exercise can reduce anxiety levels immediately. and the effect can last for hours. Unlike medication, which often comes with side effects, movement heals both body and mind in harmony. And here's the beauty. You don't need to run a marathon to feel the change. Even gentle, consistent movement, yoga, tai chi, or simply walking, can quiet the nervous system and build a shield of resilience. So, my friend, the next time your chest feels heavy and your thoughts race ahead of you, remember, you carry the cure within your own body. Lace up your shoes, take that first step, and let movement guide you back to calm. This is the third spark. Exercise doesn't just burn calories, it burns away fear. Chapter 4: Exercise and Depression. Dear listener, depression is often described as a shadow, thick, heavy, and suffocating. It dims the colors of life, drains energy, and makes even the smallest tasks feel impossible. Many who battle it know that it is not simply feeling sad. It is being trapped behind a wall of gray. But here, Spark shines a ray of hope. Exercise can be as effective as antidepressants in treating depression, and sometimes even more so. How is that possible? Let's explore. When you move your body, running, cycling, even dancing, you trigger the release of endorphins, your natural mood elevators. These are the body's own antidepressants. But it goes deeper than that. Exercise stimulates the production of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a chemical that helps neurons grow, connect, and repair themselves. In depression, the brain often suffers from low BDNF, making it harder to adapt, to heal, to think clearly. But every workout is like watering a wilted plant. It helps the brain sprout new life. Real studies confirm this. In one famous trial, patients with major depression were divided into two groups. One received antidepressant medication, the other took part in regular exercise. After 16 weeks, both groups improved. But here's the remarkable part. Those who continued exercising were far less likely to relapse than those relying on medication alone. Why? Because exercise does not only change chemistry, it changes identity. It gives a sense of mastery, of self-efficacy. Each run, each stretch whispers to the mind, you are not powerless. You can create change. And dear listener, isn't that what depression tries hardest to steal? Hope, the belief that tomorrow can be brighter. So, the fourth spark is this. Exercise does not just treat depression, it reignites hope, step by step, breath by breath. Chapter 5: Exercise and Attention Disorders, ADHD. Dear listener, let us now turn to a challenge that has become ever more present in our fast-paced world. Attention disorders. Children who cannot sit still in class. Adults who cannot focus long enough to finish a task. The restless mind that seems always scattered, always racing. Dr. Ratey reminds us in Spark that ADHD is not a sign of laziness or lack of willpower. It is a brain struggling with imbalances in neurotransmitters like dopamine and norepinephrine, chemicals that help us focus, plan, and control impulses. And here comes the revelation. Exercise can mimic the very effects of ADHD medications. When you move your body, whether through running, martial arts, or even playful sports, you boost dopamine and norepinephrine levels naturally. These chemicals sharpen attention, improve working memory, and quiet the internal noise. It is as if movement tunes the brain's orchestra, transforming chaos into harmony. Picture a child bouncing with restless energy in a classroom. To most teachers, this may look like distraction. But give that child 20 minutes of recess, let them run and play, and suddenly focus blooms. The same applies to adults. Many successful entrepreneurs with ADHD swear by morning workouts as their secret medicine for clarity. But it is not just chemistry. Exercise also teaches discipline, rhythm, and perseverance, qualities that anchor the wandering mind. A jog becomes more than movement. It becomes practice in staying present, in finishing what you start. And so, the fifth spark is this. Exercise does not merely burn energy in those with ADHD. It channels it, shaping distraction into direction, chaos into focus. Chapter 6: Exercise and Addiction. Dear listener, addiction is a prison without visible walls. Whether it is drugs, alcohol, food, or even screens, addiction hijacks the brain's reward system, rewiring it to crave the next dose while starving it of real satisfaction. In Spark, Dr. Ratey shows us that exercise can become a powerful ally in breaking free from these chains. Here's why. At the core of addiction lies dopamine, the neurotransmitter of pleasure and reward. Substances flood the brain with dopamine, creating artificial highs. Over time, the brain becomes dependent, forgetting how to feel joy on its own. But exercise, running, cycling, swimming, restores this natural system. It releases dopamine gradually, in a balanced way, while also boosting endorphins and serotonin. The brain learns once again to feel pleasure without poison. But the gift of exercise goes further. When a person struggling with addiction exercises, they are not just moving their body, they are rewiring their identity. Each workout sends a message: I am capable of control. I can choose growth over craving. Real-life stories affirm this. Rehabilitation programs that integrate daily physical activity report higher success rates. Why? Because exercise reduces withdrawal symptoms, curbs cravings, and offers a positive routine to replace destructive habits. Think of it like this. Addiction digs a deep groove in the brain, a path the mind keeps falling into. Exercise, with each repetition, builds a new trail, one leading not to escape, but to renewal. So the sixth spark is this. Exercise is not just a way to sweat. It is a way to reclaim freedom, to rewrite the story of one's life. Chapter 7. Exercise and hormonal changes. Stress, menopause, and aging. Dear listener, life moves through seasons. Our bodies, too, are not constant. They change with time, with stress, with the passing years. Hormones rise and fall, shaping how we feel, how we think, how we age. And yet, as Spark reveals, exercise is one of the most powerful ways to balance these changes and keep both body and mind resilient. Let us begin with stress. When life presses down, your body releases cortisol, the stress hormone. In small bursts, it sharpens survival. But in excess, it corrodes health, leaving us anxious, fatigued, and vulnerable. Here, exercise is medicine. It burns away excess cortisol, releases endorphins, and restores calm. A brisk walk after a long day is not just movement. It is stress leaving the body. Now to menopause. For women, this transition can bring mood swings, sleep problems, and loss of bone strength. Exercise softens these storms. Strength training preserves bones. Cardio lifts mood. Yoga and stretching ease the restless nights. Movement does not erase change, but it teaches the body how to move gracefully through it. And what about aging? Many fear the decline of memory, the slowing of thought, the weakening of muscles. But study after study shows exercise slows the clock. It boosts blood flow to the brain, keeps neurons young, and even sparks new connections. A 70-year-old who exercises can have the brain sharpness of someone decades younger. Truly, exercise is the closest thing we have to a fountain of youth. So, the seventh spark is this. Exercise is not a denial of aging or change. It is a dance with them, turning life's transitions into opportunities for strength, wisdom, and renewal. Chapter 8. Exercise and Cognitive Decline. Dear listener, few fears weigh heavier on the human heart than the loss of memory. To forget names, faces, moments once cherished. To feel the self slowly slipping away. This is the cruel shadow of Alzheimer's and dementia. But in Spark, Dr. Ratey offers us hope. Exercise is one of the most powerful shields we have against cognitive decline. Why? Because when we move, we flood the brain with oxygen and nutrients, fueling its most delicate structures. Exercise stimulates neurogenesis, the birth of new brain cells, especially in the hippocampus, the region of memory. It also strengthens synapses, the bridges between neurons, keeping the circuitry of thought alive and resilient. Studies tell a compelling story. Older adults who exercise regularly show sharper memory, quicker thinking, and a reduced risk of developing dementia. Even those already experiencing mild cognitive impairment can slow its progression with consistent physical activity. It is as though every walk, every swim, every dance is a brushstroke painting resilience onto the aging brain. But beyond biology lies something deeper. Exercise provides routine, purpose, and social connection, all vital ingredients for mental health in later life. Think of a group of seniors walking together each morning, They are not only strengthening their hearts and brains, but weaving threads of companionship that fight the loneliness which so often hastens decline. So, the eighth spark is this. Exercise does not just prolong life, it preserves the mind, keeping memory alive, thought sharp, and identity intact. Chapter 9. Exercise and Learning. Dear listener, have you ever noticed how a short walk can clear your head? How movement suddenly makes tangled ideas fall into place? In Spark, Dr. Ratey shows us that this is not coincidence. It is science. Exercise makes us better learners. Here's why. When you move, your brain releases BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Think of BDNF as fertilizer for the brain. It nourishes neurons, strengthens synapses, and prepares the mind to absorb and store new information. Without it, learning is like trying to write on water. With it, learning becomes writing on stone. Consider this. Schools that introduced morning exercise programs found dramatic improvements in student performance. Test scores rose, focus sharpened, and discipline improved. The reason? Exercise primes the brain, opening the gates for knowledge to flow in. And it's not just for children. Adults too can harness this gift. Imagine studying for an exam, preparing for a big presentation, or learning a new skill. If you take time for physical activity, whether a jog, a workout, or even mindful stretching, you're not wasting time. You're investing in sharper focus, stronger memory, and deeper understanding. Let me give you an image. The brain after exercise is like freshly tilled soil, soft, rich, ready for seeds of knowledge to grow. Without movement, the soil hardens, learning becomes harder, slower, more fragile. So, the ninth spark is this. Exercise is not separate from learning. It is the hidden key that unlocks curiosity, focus, and creativity. Chapter 10. The Prescription. How much, how often, and why it matters. Dear listener, knowledge is powerful, but knowledge without action is like a map to treasure left unopened. In Spark, Dr. Ratey doesn't leave us with theory alone. He gives us a practical prescription, a guide to bring the benefits of exercise into daily life and ignite the brain. So, how much movement do we need? Research shows that just 30 minutes of moderate aerobic exercise most days of the week can trigger powerful chemical and structural changes in the brain. This can be brisk walking, cycling, swimming, or even dancing. Intensity matters less than consistency. The key is to move regularly. But it's not just cardio. Strength training, flexibility exercises, and balance work all contribute to brain health. Each movement stimulates different parts of the brain, keeps the body resilient, and reinforces the mind-body connection. Even short bursts of high-intensity activity, like 10-minute sprints or jump exercises, can produce dramatic improvements in memory, attention, and mood. And here's a subtle but crucial point. Exercise timing matters. If your goal is learning or memory, working out before tackling mentally challenging tasks can dramatically improve focus and retention. If your goal is stress relief or mood enhancement, evening workouts can reset your nervous system. But perhaps the most powerful insight is this. Movement is not medicine to be taken occasionally. It is a lifestyle. Small choices every day, taking the stairs, walking meetings, weekend hikes, compound over time, rewiring the brain, strengthening neurons, and creating resilience against stress, anxiety, depression, and cognitive decline. So, dear listener, the 10th spark is this. Your daily movement is the prescription your brain has been waiting for. Consistency, variety, and intention turn simple steps into lifelong intelligence, health, and vitality. Dear listener, as we close this illuminating journey through Spark by John Ratey and Eric Hagerman, one truth stands out with clarity. Movement is the most powerful prescription for the mind, from lifting mood and calming anxiety to sharpening focus, boosting learning, and even protecting memory against cognitive decline. Exercise is not just about the body. It is medicine for the brain, a spark that ignites growth, resilience, and joy. We have seen how a brisk walk can clear your thoughts, how a morning run can prepare your mind for learning, and how consistent movement can restore hope, focus, and memory. Every step, every stretch, every heartbeat sends a message. I choose vitality. I choose clarity. I choose life. So, dear listener, the question remains, how will you spark your brain today? Perhaps a short walk, a playful dance, or a morning jog is all it takes to start a transformation that lasts a lifetime. Remember, a book may guide you, but action ignites change. Let this spark light your path, and share it with those around you. Your brain, your mind, your life, it is in your hands. Until next time, keep moving, keep learning, and keep sparking the brilliance within.